Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that I've learned throughout my life. Success is not just about what you were taught in school. It's about what you continue to teach yourself. The greatest classroom you will ever step into is not behind four walls. It's the world you live in every single day. And the most powerful teacher you will ever have is your own mind. That's why I always say, train your brain to educate yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you today about something that has the power to change your whole life. And that is the ability to train your brain to educate yourself. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that education stops once you graduate from school or once you get that diploma degree. The truth is, formal education can only take you so far. Real success comes when you make the decision to keep on learning, to keep on stretching your mind, and to keep on developing yourself long after the classroom doors have closed. Your brain is the most powerful muscle you have. And if you neglect it, if you stop feeding it, it gets lazy. But if you challenge it, if you discipline it, if you feed it knowledge, it will reward you with opportunities, with ideas, and with confidence you never imagined you could have. When I say train your brain, I don't mean just memorize facts or collect degrees. I mean build habits of curiosity, habits of growth, habits of seeking knowledge in every experience you go through. See, when you take charge of your own learning, you take charge of your own future. Nobody can educate you better than you can educate yourself, because only you know where you want to go. The people who rise to the top in life are not always the smartest in the classroom, but they are the hungriest in the real world. They are the ones who keep asking questions, who keep reading, who keep learning new skills, and who keep stretching their minds when others have stopped. Think about how many opportunities pass by because people don't prepare their minds to receive them. An opportunity is no good if you don't have the mental tools to take advantage of it. If you're not training your brain daily, you won't recognize the chance when it shows up. But if you are constantly feeding your mind with wisdom, with strategies, with positive thoughts, then when the door opens, you're ready to walk through it. That's what separates dreamers from achievers. Dreamers wait for luck. Achievers prepare their minds so they can create their own luck. I can tell you from my own life that I didn't have all the answers. I didn't grow up with money or privilege, but I had hunger. I had the drive to learn. I made mistakes, but every mistake taught me something. Every struggle became a lesson. Every book I read, every mentor I listened to, every piece of advice I took in was a step toward creating the man I wanted to become. And let me tell you this, your brain has the power to rewrite your story if you train it to do so. If you fill it with excuses, it will build walls around you. If you fill it with learning, it will build doors to new possibilities. Training your brain to educate yourself is not just about what you read or study. It's also about what you allow yourself to think. If you spend your time focused on negativity, fear, and doubt, your brain will find ways to keep you stuck. But if you discipline your mind to focus on growth, on solutions, on opportunities, then you'll start to see life in a whole new way. Your thoughts create your reality. And the only way to change your reality is to change the way you think. The resources for self-education are everywhere. The internet is full of free information. Libraries are full of wisdom, podcasts, books, mentors, experiences. All of these are teachers waiting for you to take advantage of them. But none of it matters unless you make the choice to seek it out. Nobody is going to force you to grow. Nobody is going to make you successful. That's your job. And your brain is the tool that will get you there. So if you want to succeed, if you want to live a bigger life, start by training your brain. Train it to wake up hungry to learn. Train it to see every failure as a lesson, every challenge as a classroom, and every day as a chance to get smarter and stronger. Train your brain to educate yourself. Because when you do, you stop waiting for opportunities to come to you and start creating them yourself. When you control your thoughts, when you feed your mind the right lessons, there is nothing on this earth that can hold you back from what you are meant to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth about success is that it is not something that happens overnight, and it is not something that stops when you walk across a graduation stage. School may hand you a certificate, but life demands that you keep learning long after that moment. Too many people think education ends when they receive a diploma, but the reality is that education is a lifelong process. And those who embrace this truth are the ones who rise above the rest. The world is constantly changing, and if you are not willing to change with it, if you're not willing to keep learning, you will get left behind. The key to building the life you want is to understand that learning is not an event, but a lifestyle. And once you grasp that, your possibilities become limitless. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who have achieved greatness. None of them stopped learning after school. In fact, many of them went beyond what formal education provided. They read, they studied, they sought out mentors, and they learned from every single experience life put in front of them. They understood that school gave them the basics, but self-education gave them the edge. Your ability to keep learning after the classroom is closed is what will separate you from the crowd, because knowledge that is applied daily becomes power, and power applied with consistency becomes success. School teaches you certain subjects, but life requires skills that school often doesn't cover. It won't always teach you resilience. It won't always teach you creativity. It won't always teach you how to push through fear, how to handle rejection, or how to stand up again after you've fallen. Those lessons come from continuing to educate yourself when the world challenges you. Every problem you face has the potential to be a teacher, but only if you choose to see it that way. When you understand that education is lifelong, you no longer see challenges as roadblocks, you see them as classrooms. You no longer see failure as an ending, you see it as a lesson. That mindset is what allows you to grow in ways that formal education alone cannot give you. It's important to realize that the world you live in is not the same world your parents grew up in. Technology, opportunities, industries, and even the definition of success are constantly evolving. If you don't evolve with it, you remain stuck. But if you treat every day as a chance to learn something new, you give yourself the ability to adapt, to shift, and to thrive no matter what changes come your way. Lifelong learners don't fear change. They embrace it because they know every change carries with it a lesson that can move them forward. Education beyond school is also about seeking wisdom from those who have walked the path before you. Mentorship is one of the most powerful forms of self-education. Finding people who have done what you want to do and learning from their mistakes and successes accelerates your growth in ways a classroom never could. But even beyond mentors, books are mentors, experiences are mentors, and even your failures can be mentors if you let them. Every day provides new information if you are willing to look for it, and the more you feed your mind, the more prepared you are to face the opportunities and challenges that life puts in front of you. There are people who stop learning after school, and they live their entire lives repeating the same year over and over again. But there are others who never stop learning, and those are the ones who keep growing, keep creating, keep building new opportunities for themselves. You cannot afford to let your mind go stagnant. You cannot afford to live off of yesterday's knowledge. If you want a better tomorrow, you must feed your brain new lessons today. Self-education is what ensures that no matter where you come from or what you have been given, you can rise above your circumstances. When you see education as lifelong, you give yourself freedom. Freedom to grow beyond what you thought was possible. Freedom to create new visions for your life. Freedom to explore new talents you didn't know you had. That freedom doesn't come from a piece of paper on the wall. It comes from the daily decision to never stop learning. Schooling may end, but true education begins the moment you decide to take control of your own growth. And once you commit to that, the world opens doors you never thought you could walk through. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something powerful that can change the way you see your life. And it is this simple truth. Excuses never educate you. Effort does. We live in a world where people are quick to point fingers, quick to blame circumstances, quick to talk about what they don't have or what someone else didn't give them. But let me be real with you. None of that builds your future. Complaining about your situation doesn't put food on the table. It doesn't build a business. It doesn't help you grow, and it certainly doesn't educate you. What changes your life is the effort you put in every single day, the discipline you show when nobody is watching, the grind you commit to when excuses sound so much easier. Excuses are the comfort zone of people who don't want to put in the work. They keep you safe from responsibility, but they also keep you stuck. Every time you make an excuse, you are telling your brain it is okay to settle. It is okay to remain the same. It is okay to stay in the same position year after year. But when you make an effort, even if it's small, you are telling your brain you are willing to grow. You are willing to push. You are willing to get better. That shift in mindset is the difference between staying where you are and moving toward where you want to be. Effort is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. Talent can get you started, but effort is what takes you across the finish line. You might not be the smartest. You might not have the best resources. You might not have the biggest opportunities handed to you. But if you are willing to work harder than the person next to you, if you are willing to put in effort when everyone else is making excuses, you will rise. Because effort compounds. What you put in today builds your tomorrow. What you refuse to put in today leaves you empty tomorrow. I know people who have had every reason to quit, every reason to give up, every reason to stop trying, but they didn't. They refused to let excuses dictate their future. They chose effort instead, and that effort paid off. And I know people who had every resource, every opportunity, every advantage, but they wasted it because they leaned on excuses instead of pushing with effort. Success is not about what you have, it's about what you do with what you have. Every single time you choose effort, you are training your brain to look for solutions instead of problems. Excuses teach your brain to avoid responsibility, but effort teaches your brain to face challenges, to grow stronger, to build resilience. Excuses weaken you. Effort strengthens you. And the more effort you put in, the more confident you become, because deep down you know you earned it. Confidence doesn't come from luck. It comes from the effort you put in day after day, the hours you invest, the sacrifices you make, and the lessons you learn along the way. The truth is, excuses are easy. Anybody can make them, and most people do, but effort requires discipline, and discipline is rare. That's why successful people stand out. They are willing to do what others are not. They are willing to push when they are tired, to show up when they don't feel like it, to learn when nobody else is paying attention. They know that effort never lies, and that whatever you put into your mind, your craft, your vision will eventually show in your result. When you stop making excuses, you take back control of your life. You stop waiting for someone else to change your circumstances, and you start creating change yourself. You begin to see that effort opens doors excuses will never touch. Every page you read, every skill you learn, every hour you dedicate to improving yourself is a brick you lay on the foundation of your success. And while excuses build nothing, effort builds everything. So if you want to grow, if you want to succeed, if you want to become more than what you are right now, stop leaning on reasons why you can't and start focusing on the effort you can give. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to start. Because excuses may sound convincing, but they will never move you forward. Only effort will. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something that can shift the entire direction of your life. Self-education creates opportunities that luck cannot. Too many people sit back waiting on luck, waiting on a break, waiting on something magical to happen that will change everything for them. They sit around talking about being in the right place at the right time, about hoping somebody notices them, about waiting for the stars to align. But I'm here to tell you, waiting on luck is one of the biggest traps you can fall into, because luck is not a strategy. You can't control luck, but you can control how much you learn, how much you grow, and how much you prepare yourself. And the moment you decide to commit to self-education, you put yourself in position to create the very opportunities you've been hoping for. See, when you depend on luck, you're gambling with your future. But when you invest in educating yourself, you're building certainty. You're building skills that nobody can take away from you, knowledge that will serve you no matter where you go, and confidence that comes from preparation. Luck might open a door once, but education allows you to walk through doors again and again, because you know how to handle what's on the other side. Education puts you in control, while luck keeps you hoping. Self-education is about more than just books. It's about becoming a student of life. It's about studying your craft, your industry, your environment, your failures, and your victories. It's about learning from mentors, learning from experiences, and learning from mistakes. Every single lesson you take in makes you sharper, stronger, and more prepared for the opportunities that show up. And when those opportunities arrive, people will call you lucky, but the truth is it wasn't luck. It was preparation meeting the moment. Think about this. Luck without preparation is wasted. If someone handed you a chance today that could change your life, but you didn't have the skills, the mindset, or the knowledge to use it, that opportunity will slip right through your fingers. But if you've been preparing, if you've been educating yourself daily, then when that chance shows up, you're ready to grab it and run with it. That's why self-education is so powerful. It makes you ready before the opportunity even comes. I've met people who told me they were just waiting for something good to happen, and year after year they stayed in the same place. Then I've met others who took it upon themselves to learn, to grow, to push their minds further than they ever thought possible. And when the opportunity showed up, they were ready. That's not luck. That's self-education creating opportunities. That's effort and preparation turning into results. When you educate yourself, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You see possibilities where others see problems. That's because knowledge changes your vision. It sharpens your perspective. It opens your mind to solutions and ideas that people who rely on luck will never notice. And that's how opportunities are created. Not because you were lucky, but because you train your brain to think differently, to see differently, to act differently. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by chance. They might tell stories about time and about being at the right place, but the truth is they were prepared when that time came. They had been educating themselves for years, building skills behind the scenes, putting in the hours nobody else saw. And when the door cracked open, they didn't just walk through, they ran through it. That's not luck. That's preparation. That's self-education doing its job. Every time you invest in learning something new, you are creating opportunities for your future self. Every book you read, every lesson you study, every skill you practice is a seed planted. It may not bloom today, it may not bloom tomorrow, but when the season is right, it will open doors you never imagined. That's why relying on luck is dangerous. You don't control the timing, but when you rely on self-education, you're building opportunities that can't be taken away. Opportunities that will find you because you're ready for them. So don't wait on luck to change your life. Don't sit back and hope for a miracle. take responsibility, train your mind, feed your brain, and educate yourself every single day. Because when you do, you won't need to depend on luck anymore. You already have everything you need to create the opportunities that will carry you to the life you dream about. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest truths about success is that leaders are readers and learners. They never stop growing. If you study the lives of people who have achieved greatness, whether in business, sports, entertainment, or any other field, you will notice one thing they all have in common. They are constantly learning. They don't get comfortable with what they already know. They don't stop feeding their minds once they reach a certain level. They understand that the moment you stop learning, you stop leading. The moment you stop growing, you stop moving forward. And if you're not moving forward, life will eventually pass you by. Being a leader is not about titles or positions. It's about influence, about the ability to guide, inspire, and impact others. And that influence comes from knowledge, wisdom, and growth. When you commit yourself to being a lifelong learner, you position yourself to lead in any area of life because leadership requires vision. And vision comes from constantly expanding your mind. The more you read, the more you study, the more you listen, the more you expose yourself to new ideas, the sharper your vision becomes. And when your vision grows, your ability to lead grows with it. Leaders understand that they don't know it all, and that humility is what keeps them hungry to learn. They know that the world is changing every single day, and if they stop learning, they will fall behind. That's why you'll find leaders spending time with books, podcasts, mentors, and experiences that challenge their thinking. They are willing to be students, even after they become teachers. They are willing to be followers, even after they become leaders. Because the true mark of leadership is not how much you know, but how much you are willing to keep learning. Reading is one of the most powerful habits leaders cultivate. A book is like a mentor you can carry with you anywhere. Every page carries wisdom, strategies, and lessons from someone else's experience. And when you read, you are not just gaining knowledge, you are borrowing time. You are learning in hours what took someone years to figure out. That's why leaders read. They know it shortens the distance between where they are and where they want to be. But beyond reading, leaders also learn from life. They learn from mistakes, from failures, from conversations, from challenges. They see every situation as an opportunity to grow. And that mindset is what keeps them ahead. One of the biggest misconceptions about leadership is that once you reach a certain level, you've made it. But real leaders know there's no finish line. They are not satisfied with yesterday's victories because they understand that what got them here won't keep them here. They need new skills, new knowledge, and new ideas to stay relevant, to keep influencing, to keep making an impact. That's why they stay student. That's why they never stop growing. If you want to lead in your own life, whether it's leading a family, a team, a business, or even just leading yourself, you must develop the habit of learning. Leadership is not given, it is earned. And it is earned through preparation, discipline, and a commitment to personal growth. When you make learning a priority, you gain confidence, you gain clarity, and you gain the ability to make better decisions. People will look to you not because of your position, but because of your wisdom. They will trust you because they see you growing, and they will follow you because they know you can guide them forward. The world needs leaders now more than ever, but leadership starts with you. It starts with deciding that you will not let your mind go stagnant. It starts with choosing to pick up a book instead of wasting hours on distractions. It starts with asking questions, seeking answers, and staying curious about everything around you. It starts with a simple but powerful commitment that no matter how much you achieve, you will never stop learning. Every time you learn, you grow. Every time you grow, you expand your influence. And every time you expand your influence, you step deeper into leadership. Leaders are not born with all the answers. They build themselves by becoming lifelong students of knowledge. And if you want to step into leadership, if you want to impact others, if you want to change your life, you must do the same. Leaders are readers and learners, and they never stop growing. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important truth I can leave with you today is this: master your mind and you will master your life. Everything you want to achieve, every dream you want to chase, every goal you want to reach begins in one place: your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality, and the way you think determines the way you live. If your mind is filled with fear, doubt, and negativity, then your life will reflect fear, doubt, and negativity. But if your mind is trained to focus on discipline, growth, and possibilities, then your life will begin to reflect discipline, growth, and possibilities. The battle for success is not fought outside first. It is fought inside your head. And the one who wins that battle is the one who takes control of their thoughts. Too many people let their minds run wild like an untamed animal. They allow negative voices to dominate. They allow old stories to dictate their future. They allow every distraction to steal their focus. When your mind is not trained, it will lead you into places you don't want to go. But when you master it, when you take charge of what you allow to stay in your thoughts, you become unstoppable. That is the difference between people who live on autopilot and those who live with intent. Autopilot keeps you stuck, but mastery gives you freedom. Mastering your mind begins with self-awareness. You have to pay attention to the stories you keep telling yourself. Are you telling yourself you're not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough? Because if you are, then your life will align with that story. But if you change the story, if you begin to tell yourself that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are worthy of more, then your actions and your outcomes will align with that. What you feed your mind grows, and you must be intentional about feeding it with the right thoughts. Your environment plays a role too. The voices you listen to, the people you surround yourself with, the content you consume. All of it is shaping your mind every single day. If you are around negativity, gossip, and fear, that's what your mind will mirror. But if you surround yourself with positivity, growth, and ambition, your mind will rise to that level. Mastery means protecting your mental space like it is the most valuable thing you own, because it is. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose opportunities and find new ones. But if you lose control of your mind, you lose control of your life. Discipline is the tool that strengthens the mind. Your brain must be trained just like a muscle. If you want it to grow stronger, you must challenge it daily. That means reading when you don't feel like it, practicing skills when it seems easy to relax, focusing on your goals when distractions are calling your name. Every time you choose discipline, you are mastering your mind. Every time you choose focus over distraction, growth over comfort, action over excuses, you are training your brain to obey your vision instead of your feelings. That's how you build the mental strength to handle anything life throws at you. People who master their minds are not immune to challenges. They simply respond to them differently. They don't let fear paralyze them. They use it as fuel. They don't let failure define them. They let it teach them. They don't let setbacks stop them. They see them as setups for comebacks. That kind of resilience doesn't come from luck. It comes from training your mind to think differently. It comes from choosing perspective over panic, growth over grief, and solutions over problems. Mastery of the mind is also mastery of focus. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. And if you let them, they will steal your time, your energy, and your future. But when you learn to focus your mind on what matters most, when you refuse to waste your mental energy on things that don't serve you, you begin to move faster toward your goals. Focus creates clarity, and clarity creates momentum. With momentum, opportunities come, doors open, and progress becomes unstoppable. Your life is simply a reflection of your mindset. Change the way you think, and everything around you will begin to change. Mastery is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. It is about waking up every morning and deciding that your thoughts will work for you, not against you. It is about understanding that while you cannot always control what happens to you, you can always control how your mind responds. And once you take control of that, once you truly master your mind, there is no circumstance, no obstacle, no limitation that can hold you back from mastering your life.